I'm zoomed in to 200%, so you can see that these letters aren't just stroked with a gray interior. There's a gradient effect happening. It's pretty elegant, and I see a lot of potential in modifying this strategy in order to achieve different results. And the way this works is these two type layers, if I turn this off, this type layer looks gray, but the only reason it looks gray is because it's 59% opaque. And if I crank that all the way up, you see it's that dark gray color that I had chosen before in the other projects. So returning this to 59% so we don't have to mess with that anymore. How in the world was this layer created? Let me show you. And if I turn it on, there's the final result. I'm going to turn it off and click on the editable text layer. And all I do is jump it, Command J, in order to get a copy of editable text. Then with this folder selected, if we right click on it, there's nothing here that says rasterize the type layer. If and just to show you under type, rasterize type layer is grayed out. Then if we go ahead and click and shift click to select, now we're in that folder above, that copied folder, we go ahead and right click, and rasterize type is one of our choices, and it's also under type and rasterize type layer. Watch what happens to these two T's when we select this. They suddenly become this checkerboard background, and all that means is everything's transparent except for these letters, and Photoshop's unable to show us those letters are there. Now, this is a smart object. How was this single smart object made? Let me toggle this folder shut by clicking this twirly, this little triangle, and then right click out on the side, convert to smart object, and look, it's a folder with two layers inside. When we right click and convert that folder to a smart object, see how now it's the only difference between this two is this name. I just typed rasterized text. So you can see what happens after this. Let's click on this editable text layer so it's live, but let's turn it off. Come back here and turn this layer on. Click once on it, change this blend mode because there's nothing underneath it. That's why we see nothing. Change it to normal. This is what the effect looks like when it's normal. And how was this effect created? Let me turn off Find Edges. This blur is a 2-pixel blur. Now, 2 is not a magic number, and it isn't divisible into 5. Well, 2.5 times. If I double click on the Gaussian blur, it's going to tell me, hey, I'm going to turn off the other layers. That's fine. See, it's a 2-pixel blur. I'm going to click OK. And then after the 2-pixel blur, then I chose, and the blur is under Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, right there. That's how that was done. And then the second one is Filter, Stylize, Find Edges. And you know that because we did this before. And then when the Find Edges is executed, that's when we get this very fuzzy outline around these letters. And then changing this blend mode with the editable text layer on, changing this blend mode from normal to soft light is how this effect was achieved. Now let me come back, have a final word, and we'll talk about what's next.